Loading. Welcome to Access the Animus.
Hello everyone and welcome to a new video here on Access the Animus. Today we had a huge news overload with the final release date of the Siege of Paris DLC, the notes for patch 1.3.0 and a lot of news dedicated to the upcoming Sigrblot season and Sigrblot Festival, and we're going to break down all of that. In the video, we're going to discuss the various content that will be added through the update 1.3.0, including the support for Siege of Paris and the Sigrblot season, which will earn players a free one-handed sword, the level scaling option, a new update to the skill tree including 6 new skills, and a lot of game fixes including the missing Ostara items. We're also going to deep dive into the information about the Sigrblot season through a dedicated roadmap, before jumping into all the details about the Sigrblot Festival, including its start and end, the various activities, the new quests, and of course the rewards connected to them. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking it, subscribing to our channel, and turning the notifications on so you won't miss any of our future updates. And with that out of the way, let's dive into the official news about the Siege of Paris DLC, patch 1.3.0 and the Sigrblot season of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So let's start from all the news coming from the notes of the upcoming title update 1.3.0, which will release tomorrow at 2 PM CEST or 8 AM ET, and as anticipated it will be pretty big, ranging between 7 and 31 gigabytes depending on the various platforms, so you might need to get your internet connections ready. Probably the biggest information coming from the update is that it will add support for the Siege of Paris DLC, which now has a formal and official release date that is August the 12th, 2 weeks after the release of the update itself. The update will also add support for a new season and festival. Named Sigrblot Season, it will of course contain a festival of the same name that will start on Thursday, July the 29th, so don't expect it to be live tomorrow, but as usual we might expect some changes to the settlement in preparation for the festival itself. Now we're going to get into the Sigrblot season and festival later in the video, but the patch notes already stated that the festival will introduce new quests with some dedicated exclusive rewards, and as usual the festival will be available after completing either the Grantebridgesshire or Leicestershire arcs and reaching level 2 of the settlement in order to have the proper buildings for the festival to happen. As already announced, patch 1.3.0 will add a new menu option dedicated to level scaling, which will allow to adjust the levels of the NPCs to the player's liking by choosing amidst 5 different possibilities. Off will of course turn the scaling off, making the enemies appear exactly as prescribed in the region description. Default will cause lower enemies to be brought up to 30 power levels under the player's level, and according to the article that's how the game is intended to be played. Constant will have enemies be at least the same power level of the player, which might be similar to how Assassin's Creed Odyssey worked. Harder will have enemies be at 20 plus power levels above the player, and Nightmarish will bring the biggest challenge with enemies at 50 plus power levels above the player. The article also notes that boss encounters and game modes like the river raids and the mastery challenges won't be impacted by level scaling, as they have their own difficulty settings. The update will also bring an improved version of the skill tree that should show the new skills added post-launch, allowing players to find them more easily. And also, and this might prove very useful, there will be a new option that will auto-fill all the skill nodes required to reach a specifically selected node of the tree if the player has enough skill points. As is the case with almost every update for the game, some new skills will be added to the tree, and in this case there will be 6 of them. Light Fingered, which will allow Eivor to automatically pick up nearby loot without having to press the interact button. Thrill of War, which will allow players to gain adrenaline as long as they stay in combat, wonder how overpowered this will feel. Hydron Slam, which will knock enemies back with a knee slam at the press of a shoulder button. Eden's Heart, which will passively regenerate recent health loss after a short delay. Survival Instinct, which will allow to partially exchange adrenaline for health at the push of a button when at less than a third of health. And Wolf Warrior, where damage will increase the lower the player's health. Of course, the patch will come with a huge number of game improvements and fixes for the main game and its DLCs and add-ons, which we do suggest you check out. Also, keep an eye out for the secret ninja fixes that weren't mentioned in the notes. There's always a bunch of them with each update, and it might be the case this time as well, so if you spot any additional change, of course let us know in the comments. The one fix we'd like to highlight here though, as it was mentioned in one of our live streams, is the issue involving the Ostara items missing after title update 1.2.2.1, which will be addressed with this patch, so hopefully we'll be able to see those items again in our inventory. Moving on, the Assassin's Creed accounts have also shared a dedicated article to the Sigrblot season, and in this article, the team outlined a roadmap for the content planned for the season, so let's have a look at it before delving into each new piece of content. As we can see, we're going to have update 1.3.0 tomorrow, with all the new features that we discussed earlier in the video. Then we're going to have the Sigrblot Festival, which will start this Thursday, July the 29th, and will end up on Thursday, August the 19th. Then there's the Siege of Paris DLC, which will be made available on August the 12th, 1 week before the festival expires, and as usual, there's going to be a free game mode that this time will be made up of new River Raids maps and their rewards, as it was already hinted at in the past. As for what concerned the Sigrblot Festival, we now know that at the start of it, on July the 29th, and in celebration of it, players will be able to redeem 50 opals from the Ubisoft Connect platform, while the highlight of the festival will probably be the one-handed sword that will be obtainable through it. In fact, through one of the activities available during the festival, called Test Your Metal, players will be able to obtain the now classic festival tokens that can be redeemed at Norvid's shop in exchange for the one-handed sword. More specifically, Test Your Metal will see players participate in different brawl-like matches using several weapons and, differently from the Mastery Challenges, equipping their armor and rations of their choice. In these matches, Eivor will fight alongside her Jom's Viking, using weapons such as dual daggers, dual shields, and the one-handed sword in order to gain the aforementioned tokens. Another activity that will take place during the festival is called War Games, and basically will be made up of different Orlog matches with Alwyn, one of the members of the Raven clan. The third activity, called Fight or Flight, will involve flighting matches against Aki, another member of the settlement, and in this case players will be able to bet festival tokens in the matches. Of course, as mentioned earlier, there will be a stall owned by Norvid where players will exchange the festival's currency with specific rewards. In this case, players will be able to obtain a one-handed sword along with an exclusive mount, weapons, gear, tattoos, and settlement cosmetics. As it's been the case for the other festivals, this time too there will be some quests tied to the Sigrblot 1, through which players will be able to obtain more festival currency. In this case, Eivor and the Raven clan will have to prepare for the festival and for the war with Francia, by selecting offerings to gods like Thor, Freya, and Baldur. Players will also have to prepare for a big sacrifice to be made for the Sigrblot Festival in a quest called the Three Big Pigs, and lastly, they will quote-unquote contribute to the war effort by completing the festival activities and then gathering supplies for the Siege of Paris. It's not clear how that will work specifically, but we don't have to wait that much to know now. And that was it for the huge haul of news dedicated to the Siege of Paris DLC, patch 1.3.0 and the Sigrblot season. What are your reactions to these new pieces of information? Are you excited about the new content, or do you think it will just be more of the same? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video.